Ladies and gentlemen, the concept of mobility in the world changes, and we have heard this morning quite a number of aspects in what respect it is going to change. And we heard that we are kind of running out of energy and that by 2030, 40% more of energy will be consumed. So what have we in our toolboxes as car manufacturers giving our input into local GDPs? Mobility nowadays, and the clear trend we heard this morning, is sustainable mobility. But what does that mean? It's easily said, but what is the concept comprising of in total? First of all, there's a growing awareness on the environment, and this means in the end, because it's all about the people behind that, to save this world for future generations. On the other hand, everybody wants to be mobile. And secondly, then we have the trend of urbanization. More and more people are moving into town and coming into Beijing in the morning. I guess we all have a very good idea what it means and what it can lead to if we do not change some of the concepts of mobility. There are more and more entry restrictions, and the way out of it for town traffic is clearly e-mobility. Then we also heard fossil fuels are limited, so we have to think about other resources to ensure mobility. On top of that, as a kind of framework, politics, of course, come into play, and politics means we have regulations, different regulations in different regions and countries, and also here and there we have protectionism. The culture, and this for me is a very important point, the culture is changing, the culture of people is changing, and we have externalities, I would call them, we have to take into consideration, and this means the customer needs are changing and companies are judged on their behavior and how they deal with mobility in future. BMW has 40 years of expertise in e-mobility and also in electric hybrid vehicles. In 1972, a BMW 3 Series, powered by a battery, led the marathon runners at the 1972 Olympics in Munich. Since then, we further developed the e-mobility concept. Also here in China, in 2010, we displayed at the Auto China the 5 Series Echo, a long wheelbase 5 Series developed here in China by Chinese people and for China, and this was a completely electric powered car. In respect of hybrid electric vehicles, we also have enjoyed a long history, and we are going forward. In 2009, we brought out the Mini E and have tested the driving patterns of individuals around the world in very long and very successful field trials. So, how are we going forward? In 2002, we started with a big investment to develop what we call efficient dynamics, a concept initially striving to improve internal combustion engine technology and the aerodynamics. We developed that further nowadays, and we have that in every car. We have brake energy regeneration and other measures to reduce the CO2 emissions and to increase the power for the user. We also, when we go along the timeline, we further develop the hybrid technologies and the e-vehicles, and we are about to have another field trial after the Mini E here in China with the BMW Active E. The future, at least the medium-term future, will clearly bring more e-mobility, and we have heard this this morning. We also made a step into the future developing hydrogen engines. We can build them along our assembly lines, but producing hydrogen is so expensive that at the moment it's not a viable proposal for the clients. When it comes to the clients, and let's not forget the success of all of our doing is a customer buying our products. And in that respect, he not only has to accept the product, he has to enjoy the product, because good brand management is more than just a summary of the parts. It is giving also enthusiasm and joy to customers. And in that respect, cost of ownership does matter. And when it comes to that, then of course, all these new cars and mobility concepts have to be affordable for the end customer. And this is very, very important for us. And we also heard this morning, we have a clear need for a unified infrastructure in order to make that concept successful. Sustainability also defines the product life cycle. And in that respect, I already mentioned the user behavior and the demands on the infrastructure, and I can only agree to what my colleagues said here, that we need a unified system. A charging concept varying by provinces or towns does not help us, and far more importantly, it does not help the customer. So on that one, we have to work all together, because this is, in the end, when we have the cars out running on the roads, the lifeblood of them. So in that respect, how do we go forward? I spoke about the road test of the Mini E and the coming one for the BMW Active E, and we have BMW i, a new brand hitting the road in 2013, and the BMW i3 is a completely battery-driven car. In China, we have started with the Echo. We have shown in Shanghai the 5 Series long wheelbase latest generation as a plug-in hybrid, and we indeed believe that the plug-in hybrid has a bright future ahead of it, because people want to be mobile in town and outside town, and not everybody, as we know, will have the money to buy a second car just for the town. So in that respect, we are going forward with the hybrids, but we will also launch very soon a new brand in line with the Chinese regulation on new energy vehicles. What is very important, and for the first time in a holistic approach, we will roll that out with BMW i, is a holistic, integrated approach coming from the production, but going along through the entire value chain. And the products, in that respect, all have to be very sustainable. Every parts-related process, every technology, and every supplier is required to contribute to this. This, for us, is of pivotal importance. BMW i aspires to sustainability throughout the entire value chain. In that respect, there's another externality coming in, and this is we will see more and more corporations along these value chains. And the next important thing is, what are we going to do at the end of the life cycle of a battery in a car? Because that doesn't mean it's the end of the life cycle of the battery, but it cannot be used to the high energy density we need in the car to run the car. Well, one of our ideas is, why don't we use that in a second life cycle for storing smart energy coming from wind or water generation and using it there? The batteries will well be equipped to cater for that. In respect of our operations here in China, ladies and gentlemen, we have continuously strengthened the R&D capacities. We are at the moment steeply building up the research and development in Shenyang, the home of BMW production here in China. We have there about 300 engineers. We have just opened in Shanghai a design work and a connected drive lab. We have a stronghold in Beijing on a BMW Group research and development department and also an international procurement department, as more and more things for the worldwide sourcing are coming out of China. And that means we have far more than 500 people working on making mobility more sustainable in the future. This goes in line with our new plant, which is a benchmark for sustainability in production. We have opened that in May in Shenyang, and it sets the benchmarks for car manufacturing, not only in China, but in the world as regards sustainability. Let me give you one example. The paint shop will consume 60% less energy and will produce 70% less wastewater, knowing that 2/3 of a car plant in energy are consumed by the paint shop. This is a very substantial saving. In line with all of our efforts to improve sustainability, for the 8th time in a row, Dow Jones has awarded BMW Group the Sustainability Index for the car industry, and that indeed makes us very proud. But it's also a responsibility and commitment to us to keep going in the future. Having sustainability through the value chain does not just mean production and the product. It also means the dealerships. And in that respect, we have just rolled out this year a new concept here for our dealers we call 5S, and the 5th S stands for sustainability. And you can have a look to the dealership along the 5th Ring Road East, which will be certified to the Gold Leaf standard, which is well known in the US. So in that respect, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that sustainability will define premium in the future. Thank you very much for your attention. Xie dacia.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kastner. Thank you.